This is Steve from the NSAF here at the Kultan Keihas Javelin Clinic here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, with the man behind this event, really truly, along with the NSAF, Coach Jeff Gorski. We could easily make this an hour interview, I know, if we wanted to, because you would have so much to say, so many interesting stories about your background and how this started. But let's give our viewers the Reader's Digest version of kind of how this came about a couple years ago when you first heard from Jim and Joy that they were interested in doing this.
Sure. It was August of 2011 when I got an email from Jim saying that they wanted to institute a program to help the development of elite junior javelin throwers because we really weren't having much of an impact internationally in this event. So they presented me with a couple of options and a couple of ideas, and they were extremely flexible on listening to what I suggested, and it turned out to give us the opportunity to do 2 training camps here in the U.S. to get the ideas of the finished techniques of training and javelin technique introduced to the kids, and let them have a couple of sessions to work on that, so when they actually went to Finland in the summers, there wouldn't be the triple shock of time zone change, cultural change, and training and technical change. So essentially when they go to Finland, all they have to deal with is a time zone change. So it's been a wonderful experience for everybody involved.
You know, I mean, every event in track and field, you know, from distance running to all the jumps and throws, you know, and sprinting and hurdles, you know, they all have, you know, so many things an athlete can learn in terms of technique. But I think, you know, it just seems like the javelin and maybe the triple jump, which of course the NSAF has started a program for too, you know, these are events that demand a level of expertise in terms of training the athletes and the intricacies of both training their bodies and executing the particular discipline, that just kind of, you know, if you're really going to be successful, you have to have a certain level of master instruction in order to master some of these things that really can make you an elite. You know, tell us a little bit about what's unique about the javelin and some of the things, you know, especially with the jumping and running skills that a lot of people may not know.
It's that the javelin is very unique in that even though they term it a throw, it's really not, and that's probably the biggest change in the way Americans look at the event and the rest of the world does, because in the United States, all of our throwing sports, baseball and football, are predominantly from a static position, where the javelin, you have anywhere from a 60 to 100-foot run-up, so you have to incorporate what your legs are doing in a total body coordinated effort to get the energy into the javelin. So in a lot of cases, it's really a lot more like in the training of a javelin thrower, other than the actual throwing mechanics that you work on. The runway work and the bounding and jumping is very similar to what the horizontal jumpers, long jumpers, and triple jumpers do, to the point that one of the greatest javelin throwers in history, a gentleman by the name of Jānis Lūsis, who was from Latvia but represented the Soviet Union in the 60s and 70s, when I met him, and we talked extensively about the javelin, he said, you know, throwing the javelin is just long jumping with a stick in your hand. And that stuck to me as a really, really important concept in teaching the event, because it's much more of a total body action, and the actual release and throw of the javelin is maybe worth 10 or 15% of the total distance that you throw. The rest of it comes out of your body, and how you get it out of your body is what you do on the runway with your legs.
Now let's talk about this year's group. You know, every group of athletes that you have in a given year are unique, and every single clinic sort of ends up having its unique energy and unique flavor, and, you know, with its, you know, individual athletes and kind of the collective group vibe that develops. You know, what have you noticed about this group this weekend and some of the kids here?
One of the great things about this is because we do these at off times of the year. We do one in the fall here in October. We do another one between Christmas and New Year's. These are times that are not traditionally thought of as any time that javelin throwers do anything in this country. In the rest of the world, pretty much what we're doing is what's happening. But what we get here are the kids that really love the javelin. They're really committed. They're addicted to this the same way that the coaching staff is. So for them to come and, you know, in the cases of the athletes that we have, some of them are literally traveling thousands of miles to come here to take advantage of the opportunity to train and learn from the coaches that we have in the program. And it's just, there's always, you know, there's different personalities in the kids, so you get different I don't know if I want to say vibes or feedback, because everything is always really positive, because it's not like there's anybody here that doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
You know, they make the effort, they take the time, they come here because they love the event and they want to get better. So there's always a real positive vibe and a real positive spin to it. But the individual personalities and that stuff, that shows itself a little bit more like when we do the cookout, or when we're doing some of the lower intensity kind of training, where there's a little bit more of a play aspect involved, and you get to see the personalities of the kids a little bit more. The touch football game last night after the barbecue.
That was pretty spontaneous.
Oh yeah, and the when we did the camp in December with chemo here, and you know the Finnish games that they brought over, kind of variations, some crazy variation of volleyball and soccer. I don't quite figure out that yet, but you know it gives the kids that, it's almost artistic expression. Which is very much like the way the javelin is too. There's some basic fundamental things that you do, but how you incorporate those fundamentals is very much how the individual can carry it, and what their strengths and weaknesses are.
So now, you know, at the beginning of year 3 of this program, do you sense a real strong sense of hope and promise that, you know, the program is going to achieve its goal, and some of these kids are going to go on, you know, hopefully to some, national and international success down the road?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've already, in the first 2 years, we've already had international success, with Haley Krauser being a finalist at the World Junior Championships, and Megan Glassman setting the meet record and being the champion of the Pan Am Juniors. So we've already made an impact there, and quite honestly, at the level of athletes that we have right now, our junior women, our women under 19, are stronger than the Finnish program is at the same age. So we're making a really, really big impact on the women's side. We've had some big high points on the men's side, but you know, we're battling football, quite honestly, and basketball for the best potential athletes that we could have. But we've still, you know, with Sean Keller just missing the high school national record by literally just a couple of inches 2 years ago, and the guys that we have that are returning from last year, Todd Ogden and Trevor Danielson, they're both set to step forward, and for them to be
we've seen Trevor look really good this week.
He's looked phenomenal, and Todd would look just as good as he was here, but you know, I kind of feel bad for the people that he's beaten over the head in Montana in the football game this weekend.
I'm just so impressed by not just what these kids are doing here, and you know, obviously in Finland when they go over there, but also what they're doing in between and leading up to this. Obviously some of these kids, you know, just between the end of their summer seasons and now, have put in a tremendous amount of work and followed the program, and when they get here they can start to see the results.
Oh, absolutely, because the kids in the program are all committed to the javelin. It's their #1 athletic priority, and they understand that this is not something you pick up in March and you throw till June. They really understand they have to do this year round, and there's different levels of training and different intensities, but they've come here in great shape, ready to do the work and ready to take advantage of the situation without getting fatigued or without having to stop workouts because they're not capable of finishing. They knew what they were getting into, especially the kids that were returning, and they got themselves in great physical condition to come here and take advantage of these opportunities.
All right, well, thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.